Hey everyone, Keith McGinnis here with KCDC Designs. So here I have two cornhole boards for a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan, and the customer was kind enough to allow me to put my logo down in the corner here with my QR code, and then I put the customer's name and QR code on the bottom as well. This is the water drop technique, and of course Cornhuskers being red, black, white. That's what we got. So I'm going to be applying the Ultimate Top Coat Gloss on these two pieces, and then I'm also going to try a little experiment. I have one other sample board I'm going to be applying the UTC Gloss to, and then I also have another sample board that has the UTC Natural, which is the matte finish. And all I did was just very lightly sand that with 220, and I'm going to go over the UTC Natural with the gloss, and we're going to see how that turns out. So I'm going to be mixing 4.5 ounces of Ultimate Top Coat, which means I'm going to be adding 2.25 ounces of water. And I'm going to mix that up, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. So many of you have mixed up the Ultimate Top Coat Gloss, and that's why the formula for water is 50%. So if I'm going to mix up 6 ounces of Ultimate Top Coat, I'm going to add 3 ounces of water. In this case, I'm mixing up 4.5 ounces of Ultimate Top Coat, and I'm going to add 2.25 ounces of water. Reason why, you can see how thick that is. It's like a paste. But you still want to make sure that you mix it up very thoroughly, part A and part B, prior to adding the water. So this is not a large amount, really doesn't take too terribly long. Make sure you scrape that stick off, get all that unmixed product off of there. That looks pretty good. It does take a little bit of time, so be patient when you add your water to the Ultimate Top Coat Gloss. It takes a little bit to get all that incorporated in, but just take your time and make sure that you get it mixed thoroughly and that you've got no clumps. So I have my paint tray with press and seal in it. I'm using 6-inch, 1/4-inch nap mini rollers. I have them prepared, de-shedded. What I have prepared is 1 wet roller and 2 dry rollers. For this amount, I'm only looking at, right here is 16 square feet. And then my 2 sample boards. So the only reason I will probably need a second dry roller is if for some reason it hits the surface and picks up some debris. All right, that's going to mix together real well. I'm going to say again, make sure that you scrape your stick because of the amount of unmixed product that will stay on the stick. Why? Because we want to obtain best results, right? Sorry I keep saying that, but as long as I keep drilling that in my head, I'm doing everything I can to obtain those best results. If I can share that with others and possibly save any headaches on down the line, then it works good for everybody. All right, that's a really good consistency. Now the clock is running, and this is going to get thicker as time goes on. So if I have a larger area to do, I want to make sure that I keep an eye on the product, and if it is starting to thicken up, either on the roll or in the paint tray. Okay, so I'm going to saturate my roller really well. The Ultimate Top Coat Gloss goes a lot further than the Ultimate Top Coat Matte. You can see how that's getting put on pretty heavy. A little bit more on there, and that should be enough that I can get across this entire piece. Take your time, go all directions. Make sure that you've got full 100% coverage. I don't know if you've been able to tell, but there's been times where the roller is skipping or dragging, if you will, and not rolling. So you really need to be aware, especially on your edges, that your roller is rolling and not dragging. Fortunately with this, I've got a dark color. Dark colors are much easier to see when you're applying the ultimate top coat, whether it be the natural or the matte finish. Okay, the insides of these are a little bit tricky. All right, I'm going to back roll one last time before I dry roll. Take it. Okay, let me get that dry rolled before I wet roll my other piece. Weighted the roller under leading edge. Now, if I were applying Ultimate Top Coat Natural, I'm going to be a lot more cautious about over rolling, as you saw that I did right there, because you'll create lift and you'll get little bumps. Now, on a cornhole board, I wouldn't mind having a few little bumps because those bags really slide a lot. Okay. Now once again, my roller is skipping a little bit, and then I touch this right down here, and I'm really making a mess now. I'm half tempted to do that one over. Alright, so let's get this other one. See what I learned on the first one.
So a couple things I want to mention while I'm rolling out the second board. On that first board, did you notice that I back rolled with my wet roller? To me, that's very important to give me a nice, uniform, even amount of product across the entire surface. Also, if you noticed when I dry rolled, I did dry roll back and forth a few times. I would not do that with the natural, but I'm confident to do that with the UTC Gloss. So what I'm doing now is applying the UTC Gloss to two sample boards. One sample board simply has the flood coat that's been sanded with 220. The other is a sample board that had the UTC Natural. All I did was I lightly scuffed it just the same as I would a regular flood coat, and I wanted to see how the gloss was going to go over the top of the UTC Natural without sanding it completely smooth. And you'll see the results here in a little bit.
See the lines that are in there? I don't know if you can tell. But this is the stuff that'll drive you crazy, because you can see some roller marks. Those aren't lap lines, those are roller marks. Now this on the UTC Gloss, you have to give it some time. Those roller marks that you see, those lines you see, are going to disappear. I'm going to leave the camera exactly where it is, and then we're going to come back in several hours and we'll be able to see. But what happens is, and what a lot of people will do, is when you see those, it drives you crazy, and you want to keep rolling over it because you just don't think those are going to disappear, but they will. So give it time. The lap lines are going to be the real heavy lines that would be on either side of your roller because of the excess amount of product. What you're seeing here is simply roller marks where you're able to see how the product was rolled on. It's already starting to dry, and I can tell that from different areas. So again, I'm going to try to leave the camera exactly where it's at, and then we'll come back in several hours and we'll see what it looks like. I sure hope. I got product. Oh, yep, I did. Okay. That's it. We'll be back later. So here it is. Oh, I don't even know, 3 or 4 hours later. So this should be the same view as before. It is still, it's still very tacky. I guess I can run my hand along the edges. So it's still a little bit tacky, but the UTC Gloss really turned out nice. There are no lap lines, there are no roller marks. And so I hope the camera is able to pick it up earlier, but you could see all of what looked like roller marks, and there's just absolutely nothing there now. It really turned out nice.
Okay, so both of these pieces have the Ultimate Top Coat gloss finish. The one on the left, the Ubatuba Granite style, that one had the UTC Natural on it. And all I did was scuff it up. I did not sand it down completely. I did not sand it down completely smooth. It was really an experiment. And so I scuffed it up the same as we would, well, the same as I did the piece on the right, which just had a clear flood coat on it. What I wanted to do was the one on the left that previously had the Ultimate Top Coat Natural or the matte finish. I wanted to scuff that up the same as I did and the same as we do on a piece as on the right, which has the which has just the clear coat finish on it. And then I applied the UTC Gloss over the two. So here's the difference. Obviously they look the same like that because there's not a glare in it. Now I'm going to get the glare in it. Now you can see the texture on the one on the left, and then you can see the texture on the one on the right. Okay? There's really not a lot of difference between the two. If you look closely, the one on the left does have a little heavier texture because of the UTC Natural under it. Otherwise, they actually look fairly similar. So that was just an experiment. As an example, if you have a customer that wanted the UTC Natural, and then they see it and they decide, well, no, I want the gloss, that will be a call you would want to make. Do you want to sand it down completely, or do you want to sand it down enough to be able to apply the UTC Gloss and allow it to bond? So that's the difference between the two in those two pieces. Okay, that's all I have for today. Keith McGinnis with KCDC Designs, signing out.